Shalom, shalom. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. This is Ahlayah with the servants, right? So we're going to get into this lesson day. It's going to saying is say no to Christmas, right? That's what lesson going into. Say no to Christmas, right? Because Christmas is wicked, bro. Christmas is against the Bible, bro. We was never commanded or supposed as a culture, as a heritage to keep Christmas, right? The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American as our true heritage and culture, we did not participate in Christmas, right? So now in 2024, you have so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans celebrating Christmas, which is going the hell off, right? It's going off, right? It's not biblical. It's rooted in paganism and wickedness, right? So as Israelites, we do not need to be participating in Christmas, right? It's wicked, right? So we're gonna get into it, right? All right, first we're gonna go to Jeremiah. We're gonna start out with this right here, the classic precept. Jeremiah 10 and 1. Right? It says, hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Right? And the house of Israel is the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So this message is to you. Right? It says, thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Right? So we was commanded not to learn the ways of the heathen. Christmas is not a custom of the Israelites. Nowhere in the Bible, when you see any of the commandments, was we commanded, or any feast day, was it commanded for us to keep Christmas at all, right? So when you're keeping Christmas, you're keeping or participating in the ways of the heathen, right? And not our forefathers, right? It says, and be not dismayed for the sign, for at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Right? So it says, for the customs of the people are vain. Right? The customs of the nations, they're vain. It's vanity. Right? It says, for one cut of a tree out of the forest. What is it talking about? That same Christmas tree, right, that you got in your house now, that you probably bought from Walmart or Lowe's or whatever, right? A Sam's Club. That Christmas, when it first started out on people making Christmas trees, they would cut them out of the forest, right? Now you got a little plastic ones that you put up, but it originated people cutting them out of the forest. So now we're going to stop right there, and we're going to go into what Christmas really is about, right? So I'm going to pull up a couple of things, right? So first, matter of fact, I'm gonna read this, but I'm gonna go back to a step further, right? So when it's talking about cutting a tree out of forest, this is going in a time where people were celebrating, because Christmas just didn't come along in the early 1900s, right? It didn't happen like it's people been doing these things for years, but it wasn't called Christmas, right? It wasn't called Christmas, right? It just had a different name. But people been doing this for hundreds of years. That's why in the Bible it's warning the Israelites not to do these things, right? So let's go to this thing right here. I'm gonna show you this right here. It says it's on Hub Pages. It says Christmas is the birthday of Nimrod, and the tradition held to this day was to go out in the forest and cut a evergreen tree down. Right, so let's look and see when Nimrod. So let's look and see. This is Nimrod here. Nimrod deified, right? It said this is a Nineveh artifact, and we know in Nineveh, Salakia. I'm sharing my screen. Oh, now I'm sharing my screen. So we know that Nineveh, they was going the hell off in Nineveh, right? They was going the hell off. They was wicked, right? So first, let's look into this. So Nimrod was born. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this right quick. What year was Nimrod born? So y'all can get a kind of time frame of how long ago this was that this man was even born. All right, let's see if we got let's see if they got something on here. All right, and if they don't have it on here, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. So let me see if they got a time frame. I want a time frame. Okay. So I'm gonna read this right quick. It says, since Akkad was destroyed in the loss of the collapse of the Akkadian Empire in the period of 2200 to 2154 BC, long chronology, the stories mentioning Nimrod seem to recall the late early Bronze Age, right? So Nimrod, he was around the late early Bronze Age. So this is a time period from 3,300 to 100 to 1200 BC, right? So in the midst of that time period, right, which was thousands of years ago, right, people were holding holding traditions of the birth of Nimrod, right? So let's go back to this. So I wanted to get a time frame, you know what I'm saying, of when Nimrod was kind of put in the picture, right, chronologically. Okay. So bear with me. Bear with me. My internet tripping, man. Satan, man. Okay. Time frame. But I want an exact time frame though. So this is a little bit better. This might be a little better. So it says Nimrod rules the world for about 400. No, that's not what I'm looking for. It's not really a time period, right? Right. Okay. Here it is. Right quick. It says Nimrod's death is around 1947 BC, right? 1947 BC. That's around the time that Nimrod died, per se. The point is me going to this history so we can understand that people keeping Christmas just didn't start 500 years ago or 600 years ago. It connects to the Bible. There's a reason why this Bible verse is in there, because thousands of years ago, people was doing this very same thing. Heathen had this very same custom thousands of years ago. So that's why in the Bible, it tells you not to do this. So it's nothing. This is nothing. Christmas is nothing new, right? That's the point. That's the point, right? That's the point. So let me go back to make sure that my screen stopped sharing. All right, share it again. All right. So let's go to back where we was when we was reading about it. So boom. Again, so the birthday Nimrod, Christmas is associated with the birth of Nimrod, right? So this was 1,000 years ago. So that's why you have in the book of Jeremiah, you have the Israelites being warned, right, not to keep those days, right? And it says, and it got a couple precepts on it. So let's go. We can say one of Noah's great grandsons was called Nimrod. Nimrod was a great leader and a first empire builder. Babel, right? And we heard about the story of Babel when they try to build up this whole tower to reach up to the heavens, right? And the Lord sent out some angels and confound them. And they start speaking different languages after that, right? It says Nineveh, etc. It says he was a ruler of then world. His wife history says was named Samara I can't really pronounce that, but Sim something, right? She was a very great queen. All right, hold on, let me see. Okay, yeah, okay. It says Satan was working to counterfeit God's plan of salvation, and when Nimrod died, the people said he was a god, right? They honor him as God, Sem, his wife, told them that he was indeed the sun god, sun worship began here, and that his spirit was still living. So this is going into idolatry. So all these things is going into idolatry. Christmas starts with idolatry. It begins with idolatry. It ends with idolatry, right? It says here are a few more Bible references pertaining to the idolatry of evergreen trees that God. Okay, we're not getting to it, but I want to get some more. Here, there we go. So this is what you had. These people was honoring on this picture right here. You have people honoring this tree, right? On this tree. They had this tree, right? It says many fail to understand that worshiping God through pagan traditions are in vain, right? And that's why people have to realize when you're saying that this is Jesus' birthday and all this, that's madness. That's pure madness. And when you go into it, if Christ is walking the earth right now in 2024, he would not be keeping Christmas. If Christ is walking the earth right now in 2024, he would not be keeping Christmas. Why? Because he understood the law. He understood that the custom of these heathen nations was vain. So Christ wouldn't dare keep the customs of the heathen nations. He wouldn't dare be celebrating the birth of Nimrod. He wouldn't dare, right? And he wouldn't even celebrate his own birthday. There's no account of any righteous man in the Bible celebrating a birthday. Any accounts of anybody celebrating a birthday has always been an account of somebody wicked. Let's go to it. Right? Let's go to it. Good. I'm going to Matthew chapter 14 and 6. Go to Matthew 14 and 6. Let me get that Matthew 14 and 6 first. Let's get an example of somebody keeping their birthday, right? And who was it? It was Herod, right? Which was a heathen, a wicked man, right? This is the book of Matthew chapter 14. The book of Matthew chapter 14, verse 6. But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Right? So Herod was a wicked man. Right? He's the one that put John the Baptist to death. Right? He the one who ordered his head to get chopped off. Right? And what was Herod doing? Celebrating his birthday. Let's get another example. Right? Of somebody, right, in the scriptures celebrating their birthday. Let's go to Genesis chapter let's see. Genesis 40 and 20, right? Let's get another example. Genesis 40 and 20. Right? So we gotta understand, right, that this whole setup of Christmas is just folly, right? First, we're going into the history of it. It derives or it begins is formulated with the worship of Tammuz, Nimrod, right? And Tammuz is actually Nimrod's son, right? But we're gonna get into that. But it starts with that, right? Then you got people saying, "Oh, that was Christ's birthday." Christ gonna be celebrating his birthday, but even then, he wasn't even born in the winter to even begin with, right? So that's false, anyways. But let's go to this. Let's see another account of somebody celebrating their birthday and it's being a person that's wicked, right? This Genesis 40 and 20. And it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday. Here we have an Egyptian, a heathen. What he doing? Celebrating his birthday, right? You didn't hear about Joseph celebrating his birthday. You didn't hear about Abraham celebrating his birthday. You didn't hear about Moses celebrating his birthday. You didn't hear about Christ or Zacharias or Elizabeth. You didn't hear about Job celebrating their birthdays. You didn't hear about Ezekiel celebrating his birthday, Isaiah, Jeremiah. You didn't hear about these things, right? The only people that you hear about that's celebrating their birthdays in the Bible is wicked heathens, right? But heathens, all the heathens wicked, but all the people that you hear about doing this is heathens, right? That he made a feast. So I ain't got to keep going to that. So the point is, Christ wouldn't be celebrating his birthday if he was born during that time, which he even wasn't, right? So the point is, you're doing this all in vain. To use the lie to say it's his birthday, it's in vain, right? To say that it's about family coming together, it's in vain. It's all built off paganism, right? So let's go back, right? I want to get some more on that. This is what I want to get right here. This is what I want to get right here. This is really going into Tammuz, you know what I'm saying? Going into Nimrod and things like that, right? So it says, who was really born on December 25th? When Nimrod, the founder of Babylon, died, his wife name again, Semiramis, told the people that her husband's spirit had taken possession of the sun. Remember that last thing we were telling you about? This was the beginning of sun worship, right? People started worshiping the sun because they was worshiping Nimrod, which is idolatry, right? It says she encouraged the people to pay homage to her husband by worshiping the sun. Thus began the evil practice of sun worship. Right? We cannot worship the stars. Right? Let's go right back to Jeremiah. It says, thus, now this is how you know that this is what the Bible is talking about. Jeremiah 10:2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. What is the signs of heaven? The sun, the moon, the heathen was worshiping the sun. So in Jeremiah, he's telling you, do not do these things as the heathen are doing. Right? How do we know that? Let's go to Genesis. Show you how this all connects together. The Lord tells you not to worship the sun. Right? The sun is a creation. We worship the creator, not the creation. Let's go to it. Bear with me. I'm going down. I'm getting to it. Right when he All right. So we're gonna go to Genesis 1:14 says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, and for days, and for years. Right? So when you go back to Jeremiah chapter 10, right? Jeremiah chapter 10, right? It says, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. So you had these heathen worshiping the sun, right? This is all tied to the custom of Christmas. It all ties in together, right? So that's why when you go back to what was just that? Bear with me, I gotta find that spot we were just at. Okay, yeah. So that's when you go here, right? It says that's beginning an evil practice of sun worship, right? And it keeps going on, right? So it says later on when Samaris gave birth to a son by the name of Tammuz, right? That's what's going on. Now we get into Tammuz, right? It says she hid her licentious from the form of living by lying to the people. She told them that she was miraculously over. It's just pure madness, man. It's pure madness. So she basically trying to say that she basically had a immaculate conception, overshadowed by the spirit of her dead husband, Nimrod, and it was in the way. Basically, she ended up sleeping with another man, right? It says, and it was in this way she was able to bring forth his so-called son of a god. Pure madness, right? So Semiramis also declared that her son Tammuz was in actuality the turn or rebirth of her husband Nimrod. Right? Do you see what's going on here? right? So all this we talking about, this is all idolatry, right? And I want to get this precept to show you that we don't need to be. We was never supposed to be worried. We don't supposed to be worried about these. Come on, get another precept on there. How it's going off worshiping the sun and the moon and all that, man. This is Amos 5:8. It says, "Seek him that maketh the 7 stars in Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into morning, and maketh the day dark with night." So the point is, seek the Lord. Don't you be seeking. Don't be like these other nations, because you sitting keeping Christmas and all these other wicked days, not knowing they all derive and form from paganism. So just because it got a different name, you still doing that same worship, that same idolatry, and it's going off, right? It's going off. So you had these other nations, they look to the sun and reverence the sun, that sun god Nimrod. But we as Israelites, we don't do that. We need to seek him that made the stars. Worship him that made the moon, the sun, and all these different things. And that's Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, right? So boom, let's go back to where we was at, right? With this story. And then we're gonna go back to Jeremiah, because it's all connecting into one thing, right? It says, and since Tammuz was born on December 25th, right? This is a whole cover-up. They got you saying, oh, Christ was born on December 25th. No, Negro, he was not. It was Tammuz, right? It's all a big cover-up, right? And it says, this day was highly honored and recognized by Nimrod's supporters. Note, therefore, that this date, December 25th, was observed in honor of the birth Tammuz long before Christianity existed, right? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Long before they came up with this whole Christ was born on Christmas Day, long before this, people was keeping Christmas. They just didn't call it Christmas. It was a whole nother name, right? That's what we gotta understand, right? It's like saying, you create a new name for worshiping Baal. Oh, it's a new name. It gets a different name, but it's still worshiping the Baal. Maybe it may have a different name, but it's still the same thing. It's like saying slapping I don't know, hell, it's Chicken Day. But the whole time Chicken Day is derived from the worship Baal. It may be called Chicken Day, just because the name different don't mean the meaning or the sorcery or wizardry behind it is not different. It's the same. It's still the same. Just because it got a different name don't mean that it's any different from when it really began. Right? So it says now it says no and that it was not until many centuries later this pagan custom was Christianized. That's what Christians do, but that's not what Israelites do. We don't take pagan traditions and customs and we don't mix it with, okay, all right, so the pagans, they did this, so we're going to take this and we're going to mix it with Passover. We don't do that. It tells us not to follow the customs of the heathen, period. Not infiltrate them into our custom and heritage. But that's what Christianity do. Right? That religion, that dogma, it takes things from paganism and this and that just to bring people under that umbrella of Christianity, and then they make one thing all together, which is evil. It's off, right? And as it says Christianity existed. It says Christianity existed, and that it was not until many centuries later this pagan custom was Christianized as being the birthday of Christ or Christmas Day. Pure madness. Pure madness. But they telling you what it is. They straight up telling you what it is. Right? And you can Google these things, right? This is the age of information. Let me get this precept. Get this precept in the book of Amos. Not Amos, Hosea. Right? It says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Our people don't take the time to go look. They don't take the time to go search things out. Search out the truth. Right? It says, it's Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Our people, they lack the knowledge of, dang, this is a pagan custom. And then when you tell them it's a pagan custom, hey, I don't want to believe that. I don't want to hear that. We've been keeping Christians all my life. I've been having this shit all my life. Rapping presents all my life. Madness. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Because we letting our people know now. We let them brothers and sisters know. If you participate in Christmas, if you're a so-called black man, a Hispanic man, a Native American man, and you celebrate Christmas, you need to repent. You need to repent. You need to repent. Because this day is wicked, right? And rooted in paganism, witchcraft, and wizardry. Right? It says, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. Right? So we can't sit here. Let me make sure, hope my audio still is fine. Lord willing, it's still fine. Right? Because they said it wasn't, but Lord willing, it's not. If not, that's Satan. Right? But let's go back. So let's get some more stuff. Right? So let's go back to Jeremiah. All right, let's go back to Jeremiah. Right, and let me go Jeremiah 10. Right, it says now this will say Jeremiah 10:2. Right, it says we're gonna go through. It says, for the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe, right? They deck it with silver and with gold. That's the people putting the different ornaments on the Christmas tree. Just look at what is describing. They deck it with silver gold. Let's look at a Christmas tree. Let's just look at a Christmas tree. Just look at it. Just look at Christmas tree. Tell me, does this not sound like what it's describing in the book of the book of Jeremiah? Let me get an image. Look at this madness, man. Look at that. They deck it with silver and with gold. Look at this. Look at this. This is pure madness. Right? Oh, my bad. This is not biblical at all. Right? Look at this. This is not in the Bible whatsoever. Oh, look at this madness. This is pure madness, man. Right? So let's go. Now it says they chop down a tree. Right? It said they deck it with silver and gold. Let's see what else they say about this tree. The book of Jeremiah. It says they deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails, with hammers, that it move not. Bro, that's literally what's going on, bro. Like now, instead of you have to fasten nails. Now you just got it where they just put a little plaque, a little centerpiece, and it just stand up. But it's the same exact thing. Same wicked custom that they was doing those many years ago. Right now, now we're gonna fast forward down the timeline. So we went into Tammuz and Nimrod, right? So now we're finna go into Saturnalia, right? Right. So this is now we're gonna fast forward it, right? So it says in Rome, where winters were not as harsh as those in the far north, Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, a god of culture, was celebrated. Beginning in the week leading to up until the winter solstice, continuing to the for a full month. Saturnalia was a hedonistic time when food and drink were plentiful and normal social order was returned. Right? So, check this out. This is the craziest part. It says it was Saturn. It was in Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn. Now let's go right back to Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven." You had the people that was followers of Nimrod. They was worshiping the sun god. Now you got the heathen, the Romans, right? So-called white man, worshiping Saturn, right? They're doing the same thing. It's the same thing. Different names, just the same thing. Idolatry, wickedness. It's the same exact thing. Right? So it says, for months, enslaved people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Business and schools were closed so that everyone could participate in the holiday festivities. Also around this time, the winter solstice, Romans observed Juvenalia, a feast honoring the children of Rome. In addition, members of the upper classes often celebrate the birthday of Myrtha, the god of unconquerable. Oh my God! It goes back into the same thing. Myrtha goes back to Nimrod. Myrtha goes back to Nimrod because who was Nimrod? They see he was the sun god, the god of the sun. And who is Myrtha? The god of the unconquerable sun. Come on now. It says on December 25th, it was believed that Myrtha, an infant god, was born of a rock. For some Romans, Myrtha's birthday was the most sacred day of the year. So see, this is just pure madness, man. Pure madness. So let's jump down. Cause we know that Christ was born on December 25th, so we know that. So let's see what he got on here. What do he even got here? In the early years of Christianity, Easter was the main holiday. The birth of Jesus was not celebrated. Of course, it was not. In the 4th century, church officials decided to institute the birth of Jesus as a holiday, which is pure madness, right? It wasn't Israelites. Unfortunately, the Bible does not mention the date of his birth, which it does not. It says, although some evidence suggests that Jesus' birth may have occurred, which it did, occurred in the spring. Why would shepherds be herding in the middle of winter? Exactly true, right? And that's in Luke chapter 2, verse 8, right? But this is, man, this. Let's go to Luke 2 and 8. Luke 2 and 8, man. It says, and there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch of their flock by night. What shepherd's gonna be out in the field with sheep at nighttime while it's cold as hell in the winter? It makes no sense, right? Pure madness, right? So this whole Christmas thing is debunked. It's wicked. It's going off. It is not a custom of the Israelites at all whatsoever, right? Oh, what's I want to get? Oh man, was there something else I want to get? Oh yeah. So instead of keeping Christmas, the Lord has set it up in a way, instead of keeping Christmas, why not try to keep the Feast of Dedication? That's what Christ kept. He didn't keep Christmas, but he actually kept the Feast of Dedication. Right? Let's check this out. All right. Let's go to John 10 and 2. 10 and 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. So this is where you hear about the Feast of Dedication. So where do you read about the Feast of Dedication? Where it's expounded upon, where it's going to how they kept it. Where do you find it at? In the Apocrypha, right? So here you hear, and it says, and Yahweh walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. So Yahweh, he kept the Feast of Dedication, right? So where are we going to go to where the Feast of Dedication is mentioned in the Bible? It's in the Apocrypha, which is also part of the Bible, right? It was taken out, right? So let's go to where they start to keep the Feast Dedication. So we can show you, like, instead of saying, I'm going to keep Christmas, keep the Feast Dedication. And you can still make that decision right now as this live is going on, right? Let's start right here. All right, so we're going to start at 1 Maccabees chapter 4, verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Because at this time you had Antiochus, this filthy wretch, filthy, nasty, stinking heathen, right? He defiled the temple, right? Our temple, right? The heathen defiled our temple. They was sacrificing pork on the temple. They was doing all kind of manner of wickedness in the temple, right? So that our forefather Judas, which is so-called black man, right? A Levite, right? And he had to go, him and his brother, they had to re-cleanse the temple, right? So it says upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned, right, and the gates burnt up and shrubs growing in the courts as in the forest or in one of the mountains, yea, the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads. So this had to be a scene, right? This is a scene that hurt them, seeing our temple so desolate, so profane, so filthy. Because one thing about the temple, it was always kept clean, kept nice, and through the Spirit, we supposed to keep this temple clean, nice, unprofane, undesolate, or better terms, to keep it clean, right? To keep it clean, I'm just leave it at that, just to keep it clean. I ain't gonna try to put too many words on it, but just keep it clean through the Spirit. Just like how you should look at yourself and examine yourself. Just like how they examine the temple, they say, "Oh man, this temple messed up." We gotta sit there through the Spirit. We gotta sit there and examine ourselves. Is our temple messed up? Is our is this temple messed up? Is it profane? Got burnt marks and shrubs and all this stuff going on, looking like a forest. Right? We got to clean it up. Right? We got to rededicate our temple. Right? See, how about Simi Awashai? Because this is the temple. Right? We don't have a present temple right now, but this is the temple right here. For right now, until the temple is rebuilt, this is the temple. Right? And even then, our body's still the temple. We still belong to the Lord. Right? All this, we on borrowed time. But anyways, so our forefathers, they seen how the temple was profaned and stuff, right? So I'm gonna keep going. It says and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew alarm with the trumpets and cried towards heaven. Then Judas appointed some men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary, right? So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place. So they had to clean the sanctuary. They had to take out the defiled stone. And that taking also through the Spirit, we got to take out those old ways, that sin, that wickedness of the old man. We got to toss it out. We got to toss it out through the Spirit, right? And it says, and when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offering, which was profane, they thought it best to put it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down, right, and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former. So they rebuilt a new altar. So this is all the process of them rededicating the temple after the heathens done profaned it. This is customs, heritage for the of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is what our forefathers did. Not keeping Christmas. That's not our custom. This is what our people did. Right? They were worried about the law, statutes, commandments, worried about the temple, worried about serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They weren't worried about no heathen cousins. And that's the same spirit that we need to be in right now. Right? It says, they made up the sanctuary and the things that were in the temple and hollowed the courts. They made also newly holy vessels into the temple. They brought the candlestick in the altar of burnt offerings and of incense in the table. Right, so I'm gonna jump down. So they basically they put everything, they did everything, they put everything in, they cleansed everything, they got everything together. Right, so I'm gonna jump down. Now on the 5 and 20th day of the 9th month, which also called the month Caslu, in 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning. They offered sacrifice according to the law upon a new altar of burnt offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even that it was even in that was it dedicated with songs, cisterns, and harps and cymbals. Then the people fell on their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. So our people, they had songs going on, they had cisterns going on, they had harps going on, they had cymbals going on. They was having a good time. Right? It says, so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days. So it's an 8-day feast. Christmas is 1 day. But you want to count Christmas Eve or 2 days, whatever. But the feast dedication is an 8-day feast. How about that? And offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there a very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 5 and 20th day of the month Casul, with mirth and with gladness. So that's the feast dedication, a time to celebrate, to be joyous, congregate with your brother. People say it's about their family. Hey, here's a time you can gather with your family in 8 days. You probably can't do it all 8 days, but right now the feast dedication is tonight at sundown. The 8-day feast starts tonight at sundown. What you gonna do? Is you gonna participate in Christmas, or you gonna participate in the heritage and the customs of our forefathers? You gotta make a choice in this thing. You gonna serve the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, in righteousness and truth, or you gonna live in the way of the heathens? Live the way of the lifestyle of the heathens, man. So we gotta make a choice in this thing, man. So right, so I'm gonna close out with that, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a choice in this thing. You know what you want to do, right? But Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to give our honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Shalom.